that work? Okay. Coach, impression of Philip Rivers. Spent some time with him today.
He's playing great. I love the film, and I get energized being around him. He's totally committed, focused, and I think really excited for the second half of the season.
Now, how about just speaking with him? I mean, he's pretty animated. He gets very excited. I'm sure it translates when you're talking to him as well.
He's like a kid. I mean, he takes the game very seriously. He has a lot of fun playing. He expects a lot out of himself, and he expects a lot from his teammates. And I think they know that their back is against the wall, and they've got to be at their best down the stretch here.
Are you surprised, given the talent and given what they've done in the past? They lose to the Raiders, Chiefs, Pats, Seahawks, and the Rams. Are you surprised that they're still in this thing?
I'm not surprised by anything, and I don't think you can be. Look at the whole NFL. The Chargers aren't the Lone Ranger. There's a lot of teams that are disappointed with where they are, but yet optimistic for what they can do.
Give me your top 5 quarterbacks right now in the NFL.
Well, I can't rank them. I don't want to tick anybody off, but I'd go to war with Peyton Manning. I'd take that guy Drew Brees. I'd take Tom Brady. I'd take this guy right here in San Diego. And who's going to deny that Starship 7 in Philadelphia is in the top 5?
Right,
those guys are pretty good. And there's others that I like too.
What would you do with this? Are you surprised by what you've seen on the Chargers special teams?
Well, they've had a lot of glaring mistakes. They've had some things happen, but when you look at the injuries, I mean, they've had a ridiculous amount of injuries, and it affects you at special teams more than it does anywhere else. They've had 5 different long snappers. That's a problem. You've had 4 or 5 different guys playing right guard on the punt team. A lot of the players that are playing don't even know each other by name. So there have been communication breakdowns, and a lot of these things are correctable. I know how hard they work at it, but the injuries have really taken a toll on special teams here.
You spent some time with Norv Turner today. Give me your thoughts on Norv as a man, as a coach, what he's done so far.
Look, find a better offensive guy alive, and you have probably a guy that might rival Norv Turner. Okay, this guy knows offensive football. He's well-versed. He's great with quarterbacks. I think he's the perfect guy to complement A.J. Smith. I think he gives his coaches autonomy to do their jobs. He's steady as they can be, and I like him a lot. I'd love to be on his staff.
Now, you mentioned A.J. Smith, and I want to ask you about that because he's taken a beating by the Countdown crew about his stance with Vincent Jackson, Marcus McNeil, the draft, some of the moves he's made. What are your thoughts on A.J. Smith and the job he's done?
Well, who hasn't taken a beating, just so I know?
Right.
I mean, I don't know anybody in this business that doesn't take a beating. Look at me. My eyes are still black and blue. That's part of pro football, but it doesn't appear that the Chargers' pass offense has suffered without Vincent Jackson. They're on record to break every NFL record that is in place. They need Vincent Jackson, but at the same time, Vincent Jackson needs Philip Rivers, and he needs to help the Chargers, in my opinion, get back in order. But I like A.J. Smith a lot. You know, you can argue everybody's drafts, but if there's a guy that's more committed, more determined than A.J. Smith, I'd like to meet him.
How do you see this AFC West playing out?
To the wire. You know,
really?
I think the Raiders are a much improved team. You know, all those acquisitions, all their early draft picks are starting to pay off. Campbell and Gradkowski have given them stability at quarterback. They're not going anywhere.
Okay.
You're going to have to beat them. And I think Kansas City's much improved, as is Denver. It's a long way from over. But Philip Rivers is going to find a way to win it for the Chargers.
Are you glad to see, by the way, your former team, the Oakland Raiders, are once again relevant in this division in the NFL?
The Raiders are always going to be relevant. I promise you that.
Come on.
They're always going to be relevant.
Which of your former teams is more legit than the Raiders or the Bucs this season?
The Bucs are legit. If you get to know Freeman, this quarterback, he's a young Ben Roethlisberger. This guy's that physically imposing. I really like LeGarrette Blount. He's given them a power dimension. They play good, solid defense. They don't beat themselves, and they're a contender.
And look what's happening now in the NFL with coaches. Wade Phillips in Dallas, the scrutiny with Brad Childress in Minnesota. Do you want to get back into coaching again, or are you just happy doing what you're doing, being candid, being yourself, and being on TV and more relaxed and a better life?
Every day above ground is a good day. And I hate to see what's going on with some of these coaches. Everything they do being ridiculed by bloggers and on TV and radio all day and all night. But that's part of the game. That's what makes it great. You know, you either You either like pressure or you don't. And I think most of the guys that love pro football love pressure.
And you loved the pressure and the scrutiny and everything else, didn't you?
Well, I don't know if I loved it. I miss, that feeling in my gut that every day is a big day and there's an urgency and a crisis. I did kind of miss that, but there's a lot of good things going on.
All right, of your two big accomplishments, the one that I rate pretty high up there, which one are you least likely to repeat again? Winning a Super Bowl or being named to People Magazine's 50 Most Beautiful?
Well, you're a funny lady. You know that? I'm going to leave on that one.
Come on.
If I was one of the 50 best looking people in the world, then I'd like to see the blind souls that put that poll together.
Where do you keep that issue? Come on, where is that issue?
I look at that every other day.
I bet you do.
I was in the top 12. It wasn't the top 50.
Thanks, Coach.
You got it.